My name is Mike Meredith. I'm the doctor of Doctors Woodshop. In this section, I want to talk about the high build friction polish. Now, high build friction polish is as much a term of art as it is a product name. Deriving from what we call French polish, the finish used to finish the famous tiger maple furniture in the Palace of Versailles. High build friction polish is unsurpassed in bringing out the grain and figure of the wood. Now, the product that I make is a little thinner than most of the commercial high build friction polishes, and I do that intentionally to allow it to seep into the wood more rapidly, thus providing an excellent seal coat as well as a smooth basis on which to build the rest of the finish. To this point, we haven't talked much about turner safety. When you're at the lathe, always observe the machinery recommendations. Make sure your tools are sharp. Make sure the area is free of clutter. But specifically, I want to talk about your personal safety. Always wear a jacket or something that, first of all, protects things that might be caught in the lathe. But more importantly, something that you can leave in the shop, not take into the house with you. For the simple reason that dust is a significant irritant. So keep it off of your clothes, out of the house, in the shop. That also means wearing a hat to keep the dust out of your hair. Of course, those of us with not so much hair anymore, this is not as big a problem as it used to be. And normally I would wear a face shield, but today I'm just wearing my safety glasses. So keep the dust in the shop, keep the stuff out of your eyes. We're not going to be doing much sanding today, so I'm not worried about inhaling the dust, a respirator, or dust control. So today I want to talk about the friction polish. Now, the high build friction polish, when you get it, you'll see that it's separated. That's intentional. I haven't included emulsifying agents to keep it together, but a quick shake will put it back to right. You'll also notice that it's a very thin product. That's done intentionally also because I want it to penetrate the wood as quickly as possible, forming a smooth surface on which the friction polish can build. Remember, no finish is any better than the surface that it's applied to. So, with the high build friction polish, we're going to apply it the same way we will the other friction polishes, that is, just with a paper towel. Now, these are just the blue Costco shop towels. We're also going to do a little bit of an experiment. A lot of you have asked what difference the finishing oil makes in the color of the wood. Here we have a piece of maple. I think this is actually hard maple. It's not bird's eye maple. And half of it has been sanded to 600 with the sanding lubricant. Half of it has been sanded, dry sanded, also to 600. You can see that on the sanding lubricant side, the grain is a little more prominent. The tone is a little bit darker, but not really all that much darker. And you can see even that little medullary race structure in the maple is brought out. So what I'm hoping to do is to see if we can cause a problem that I get a lot of questions about, and that is dry spots or dull spots in the finish of the friction polishes. Those dull spots are caused by uneven uptake of the finish across the surface of the wood. So let's see if we can make some of those spots so I can show you what to do about it. And we'll see if the spots form on this side but not that side, if the sanding lubricant is something that can be used to prevent that. And again, shake well and just drip it onto the wood. And friction polish, and that means cause enough heat that you can feel it through the towel. Let's see if we got any. Now, of course, when you try to get something to happen, it never does. We got a nice even uptake. Let's assume that the piece that you're working on did have some dull and shiny spots after that first coat. What do you do about it? Well, it's really very simple. You apply the next coat without the lathe turning, and you simply rub on the finish by hand, making sure that each part of the wood ultimately has the same appearance. That is, you've made sure that all of the wood has taken up an equivalent amount of finish. Very often this will happen if you're trying to apply the finish and turning too fast, particularly with a high build friction polish, because this is the most volatile of the friction polishes that I make. The heat of the lathe can evaporate the solvents and leave the oil and shellac sitting on the surface, and the shellac hardens by the heat. So it's simply an uneven distribution across the wood. And just to prevent anything, we'll do this side too. Okay, as we're looking, everything is taken up the friction polish evenly. And with the friction polishes, speed is your friend. Run this up to about 1,000. When you're feeling the heat through the towel, that means you're generating enough friction that the shellac is hardening and the oil is being forced into the wood. Now, high build friction polish, you can add as many coats as you want to. And again, because I've made it as a very thin product, we can get a thick coat that's protective, but more importantly, I've always thought it sort of acted like a magnifying glass, so that you see a little better picture of the figure. It seems to bring it out much better than any other friction polish. Since our experiment to make white spots didn't seem to work, let's see if we can compare the effect of a sanding lubricant on the final appearance of the finish. As you can tell, you don't need to leave a lot of time between the coats. Because you've gotten it hot, what you're doing actually is not letting it dry as much as letting the shellac harden. Now, if you get it too hot and go back in immediately, you can actually get the towel stuck in the shellac. But you can see we're 3 coats in now, and we're getting a very nice high gloss finish. So we're going to rely on that modern video editing miracle to save you from watching me put on coat after coat. But I'm going to run this up to about 6 coats. Okay, we have now 6 coats of the high build friction polish. I don't see any uneven places. What I do see is a beautiful high luster finish on these maples. Let's go particularly to the medullary ray figures. Those just jump out now. So easy, quick, An excellent finish for, I think of it as a finish for the hollow form that's going to sit on the piano and look beautiful. I've never thought of the high build friction polish as particularly tough, although one of the best pen turners that I know down in Houston finishes his pens with 10 coats of the high build friction polish topped with wax, and he says it lasts forever. So again, put 2 wood turners in a room, you'll get 3 opinions on almost everything. Let's look at a different project for a minute. This is a little quilted maple bowl, big leaf maple, that I turned the other day, and it's going to be an ornamental bowl. So a beautiful high build friction polish finish will bring out that quilting better than anything I know of. How do we finish a piece like this? Same way as we did for the spindle pieces. Since the surface density of this piece is much more likely to be uneven than was the maple spindles, I'm going to do the first coat without the lathe moving and see if we can find some unequal uptake of the finish on this piece. Now this was sanded to 600 using the walnut finishing oil as a sanding lubricant. So I would expect that the uptake of finish by the wood here would be pretty well equalized by the hardened walnut oil in the grain. And in fact, I don't see any. So in this case, no news is good news. Bring the bowl to speed. Beginning at the center. Wiping out the edge. You can feel when the finish is starting to build, because the surface will feel sort of slippery, for lack of a better word. Okay, now I'm getting that slippery feel that tells me that the surface is pretty well covered uniformly. It's now time to start building a finish. You can already see the shine starting to build up. Again, from the center out. Remember that the lathe is, the piece is spinning more slowly in the center than it is on the outside, because although the center is truly spinning at about 1,000 RPM, the distance it's traveling is much less. And with each coat that I put on, I see the shine coming, I see the finished building, and I see the figure, the quilting, start to pop out even more. I think this has probably got enough of the high build frictional polish on it to make the point I wanted to bring out today. When I take it home, I'll actually put on probably 3 or 4 more and to finish the protective layer. But you can see that the quilting in the piece really starts to come out. You see the chatoyance as I rotate the bowl. There is nothing better than high build friction polish for bringing out that grain and figure. So that's it for this section. Thanks for dropping in.